This is a Dreamcast disc and is for use only on a Dreamcast unit. Playing this disc on a hi-fi or other audio equipment can cause serious damage to its speakers.
Dreamcast, up to 6 billion players.
Welcome back to the stage of history.
Why don't we play together?
Hey, it's time to make some crazy money. Are you ready? Here we go!
Please stop this disc now.
Hello and welcome to DreamPod by the Dreamcast Junkyard. This is episode 94. I'm never going to be less amazed about how many episodes we've done, and it's only going to go up, so cool. And today we have a bit of a news roundup for you, and I'm joined by three people, and I'm going to introduce them very quickly for a change and fairly off the top of my head, so bear with me. We have the tremendous Tom. How you doing, Tom?
I'm very well, thank you, Andrew. It's very nice to be back on the DreamPod. And hopefully my audio sounds a little bit better than the last time I appeared, where I sounded like I was recording or joining you live from the inside of somebody's shower. And it only occurred to me that it sounded like that when I actually listened back to it. And I was like, oh, no.
I thought you were in the shower, Tom. I just assumed.
Well, there was a period where I was in the shower, but not for the whole episode. What I did on the back of that is I actually went and got actual super fast broadband installed, hopefully.
Nice.
That's done something. If I listen back to this and it sounds just as bad, then I know that I've been mugged off, and I will be very annoyed with EE. So
True.
But it's nice to be here. Nice to be back on the pod.
Absolutely. You'll have to tune into episode 95 to find out if Tom was indeed mugged off, and sure, let us know. We're also joined by the mighty Mike. How you doing, Mike?
Good evening, Andrew. Yes, I'm doing well. I'm not in the shower. I wish I was in the shower. It's very hot. But yeah, I'm doing good. Excited to be back onto an episode of DreamPod. Seems like we've not had one for quite a while.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute, hasn't it? And if you do need to get in the shower to cool off, that's fine. Just don't take the audio equipment in with you, because you'll ruin it. So don't do that. Please don't. And trying to think of a word beginning with L.
Luscious.
Yes, luscious. Wow.
Is loquacious a good word? I don't know.
Loquacious. Don't know. But something nice about Lewis. Hello, Lewis. How are you?
Lavender scented.
How's it going, Lewis? Are you lavender scented?
Yes, because I'm feeling calm, and lavender is supposed to make you calm if you believe in like aromatherapy. I think you can believe in aromatherapy. It's like scientifically proven. Yeah. Anyway, going off topic.
Right?
Yeah.
Olfactory Scientology.
Yeah. But I believe in the Dreamcast, and that is why I'm here. So yeah.
Yes. Excellent.
Back on topic. Well done.
Yes, very, very well done.
Clawed it back there. Nice.
Oh dear. And usually for these news episodes, we'll have a chat about, I guess, what we've all been playing. So we've not done that for a while. So Lewis, I'm going to start with you. What have you been playing recently?
I suppose like a mixture of stuff, really. I'm in that limbo that I'm sure you guys can all relate to, where you've just got off the back of playing like a really great game. In my case, it was Resident Evil 8, which was fantastic. And then you kind of like looking for something to fill that space that you were like so invested in another game, I suppose. And I've tried a few different things. I think the one I've been playing recently was A Plague Tale: Innocence, which recently got released on PS5 and I presume Series X.
Yeah.
But I'm just playing it on Xbox One Game Pass because I didn't realize it was actually the new versions were just a re-release of a game that came out a while ago. So I was like, all right, I'll play that. Really great story-driven game that I all recommend. Great setting, quite moving, and great characters. And you know what? It's nice to play a story game where you don't have to like walk around a room like clicking on every single thing in sight, just in case you miss like what the character thinks of their socks or whatever. So it's just like a really nice story driven game, and it moves really quickly like through everything, and it's like a joy to play. So I do really recommend that. I also 18 Wheeler on Dreamcast as well, because we played that for the book club that we did recently, which you can find on YouTube. I think the consensus, and just for context, people who haven't seen it, I was a new adopter of this game, never played it before, and I think I felt similarly to the other guys. It's just kind of it's all right, it's a cool Dreamcast arcade game, but it's not the best one ever. And I did play that on GDEMU, but then I was able to purchase a copy that Jason Madison from Lost in Cult, he was selling his copy. So I've actually got a copy on the way. And speaking of Dreamcast pickups, I'll just quickly list off all the ones I bought recently, because I've just been absolutely going for it. I managed to get some really good deals, and I bought some like really heavy hitters, some like crown jewels that I've always wanted. I think the big one for me was Rez.
Nice.
But I managed to get a really good price on the PAL version, and I've actually got a lot of good prices from CEX, and that's where I got this from, because I've got all this junk that I don't want anymore. I've traded it all in, and I've used my vouchers to put towards Dreamcast games. So from CEX, I got Rez, I got Bangai O coming, I've got Virtua Tennis on the way, I got Tech Romancer as well, which turned out to be a promo copy, which was cool. And then I did get Radagy and Bomber Hee from a seller on eBay. I got a really good deal on them because he just seemed like he just wanted rid of them. So he was just like, yeah, I'll give them to you at this price. So yeah, I've been quite lucky in that sense, considering how prices have gone ridiculous. I've been kind of quite lucky, I suppose. But yeah, I'm going to say this, and don't spread this around, even though I'm putting on a podcast. CEX prices on Dreamcast games right now seem to be slightly lower than probably what you'd see on eBay. So use it to your advantage while you still can.
Good tip. I have to have a look. Like I've got probably most of the Dreamcast games that I want, but there are 3 in particular that I really want and just haven't got around to getting yet, which are rebuying Project Justice, because I can't believe I ever let that go, but I need to pick that up at some point. Carrier, because I'm such a big survival horror fan, and then Sega Gaga. But like, I don't know, every time I see Carrier or Project Justice, like I could get them, but they're just so expensive. So I'm gonna have to have a look on CX, I think, and see what I can see. If anybody listening knows a good place to get them, let me know. I'm in the market for them. So anyway, moving on. Tom, what have you been playing recently?
I just want to say great choice with Plague Tale Innocence on the Xbox. I played through that and I really enjoyed it. I know it's just had an update on the Series X with like a new graphics upgrade or something. So I might go back to it. It's got like 60 frames per second mode or something like that. Same on the PS5, so I might go back and replay it. But a really great game, so glad to hear somebody else has played it. Otherwise, I've not really been playing much on the current gen consoles. I've only got one current gen console. I've got the Series X. The last game I played on that, I think, was Wreckfest, because they again released an update for it for the Series X and PS5, and it does really look quite amazing now. I mean, it looked good anyway, but with this like graphical overhaul, it looks really impressive and, you know, genuinely next gen. So that was quite nice. On the PC, because I've mainly been playing on the PC recently, because I've just become this kind of like Steam whore. So every time I log on my PC, I have a quick look at Steam, see what's cheap. They had a big sale recently as well, so I bought a few games there. And weirdly, I went down a bit of a rabbit hole of just playing old games. So I picked up the Sega version, or the Sega published Alien vs Predator from a few years back for like 49p or something. And I've been playing through that, and it's just, it is really good. You know, it's Aliens through and through. We've got all the sound effects, and it's just a janky first-person shoot 'em up. Really, I'm just kind of kidding myself, but I love the Aliens franchise, so it's nice to become immersed in that. And for 49p or whatever it was, you can't really complain.
49p.
It was something stupid like that. Yeah, I was just like, why am I umming and ahhing about this in my basket? It's like less than a price of a can of Coke or something. So yeah, Alien vs Predator, really, obviously way better than the original Jaguar game, but we won't talk about that for too long. Won't have a bad word said about my old Jag. What else have I been playing? On the Dreamcast, I've not really played a great deal, to be honest. I think the last thing I played was Godzilla. It was the first one. It was the one where you sort of tramp around and destroy
the shit one.
Yeah, the terrible one. I played that, and I don't know why. I just thought I'll just play that for some reason, because I just want to chill out and just wander around and smash buildings up and look at low poly environments and get really annoyed at really crap camera angles. So I thought, I know the game for that. Hence, I booted that up. So yeah, that's what I've been playing recently.
Nice. Talking about Steam, have you pre-ordered a Steam Deck, Tom?
No, not yet. See, we had this conversation recently, Andrew. So I really want to get a new exhaust system for my motorcycle, and it costs exactly the same amount of money as a basic Steam Deck. And I'm just like, I can have the exhaust, or I can have a Steam Deck, and I can have the exhaust now, or I can wait until December, January, February for a Steam Deck. And I can play the Steam games already on my PC. Do you know what I mean? So I'm thinking I'm going to go for the exhaust.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You can always get a Steam Deck later, right? Like if you really want one.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else thinking of picking up a Steam Deck?
Yeah. I'll be going. I haven't pre-ordered it yet, but I will definitely be getting one. Sounds like it's a really good price, to be honest. I mean, I'm trying to get a laptop at the current time, or a new PC in the future. And to be honest with you, if I'm buying one for gaming, the Steam Deck seems like a better price point. So for me,
the thing is, you need to get that middle sort of one, don't you, rather than the sort of the low end one, because apparently that's got really bad memory latency or something. I don't know the full ins and outs, but I've seen some videos on YouTube.
It's very impressive tech. Like, I mean, just some of the games, some of the classic PC games I could play whilst on the toilet. Just fantastic.
But you could put your rig in the bog and just play like with your laptop on your or your keyboard on your lap. Right?
I mean, you're assuming I don't do that, but
oh god, that's an image I don't need. It's an image I don't need.
When you visit my house, we just moved it out, Tom. We didn't want to make you.
Oh dear. I managed to pre-order like the 512 gigabyte version. It's like £4 down, like it's a £4 deposit, which is easy. I've not yet told my other half that I've done this.
Is that the top end one? That's the top end one, isn't it?
It's the top end one, yeah. I was like, if I'm going to do it, I'll go all in. But the good thing is I can cancel it. Like, I don't have to do it. Like, if you cancel within 30 days, they give you your money back. And if you cancel after that, they give you the money in Steam credit. So I'm like, it's quid in, really. It doesn't matter either way. And if I do keep it, then they're not going to take the money until, December, January time. So.
And if you decide after 30 days, you can get 4 copies of Alien vs. Predator.
8 copies of it.
8 copies indeed. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
And have change left over. My goodness, yeah. I could send it to. Is there multiplayer in that game? It's like I could send it to people and play multiplayer.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. No, I've not tried it. I think there is on the menu. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. All makes sense now. Mike, what have you been playing recently?
Yeah, so I've been playing the same game I've been playing for the last 4 DreamPod episodes, I think, which is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I, for some reason, have just become enamored with the game, so I'm still playing through that. I'm playing all of the ridiculous quest missions now. Fantastic game. I know people like to criticise Ubisoft games, but actually, it's a fantastically enjoyable game for me, especially if you're interested in the lore and that sort of historical period as well. So, as well as that, I've picked up new F1 game the last couple of days. So I've been playing through an F2 season currently. I love the F1 games from Codemasters, now EA. But yeah, I love the game. It's the exact same game it has been for the last several years, to be honest with you. But they sort of made the best Formula 1 game several years ago, so it plays really, really well. And apart from that, I mean, modern day stuff, that's all I've been playing. I've done a similar thing to Tom, but on Good Old Games. I often go on Good Old Games to see what sales they've got on, and then end up buying 47 games for like £10, something ridiculous. So I've been playing a couple of old games on PC as well. I was playing original Deus I was playing Thief 2, and I was also playing System Shock 2, probably 3 of the greatest games ever made.
Can't argue with that. Yeah,
fantastic games. I've played through all of them before, but sometimes you just want to have a nice game to go back to and remember the good old days before the world turned into a burning globe of hatred.
I always find that going back to old games that you played in the sort of maybe in the early 2000s, but with a modern system, you can just like whack everything up to full, you know what I mean, and ultra, and it's just like it's almost like a new experience in itself, because back in those days when I first started PC gaming, I had like a Celeron processor and and 768 megabytes of RAM, and I'm playing these games like Call of Duty, the first one, in like slideshow mode, and I can go back now and play them all, and everything's on ultra, and it's just like totally experience.
I think so. That's the thing, isn't it? It's I think that the games we played at the time, we don't realise how limited they were. I mean, one of my favourite games from back in that era was Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines, which never ran properly on PC. It was buggy, it was awful. they re-released it a couple of years ago, and to play it now and actually have the full experience is fantastic. But it's always good fun. I think I've said before in this podcast that period of games to me is the greatest period ever made. So always get back to them when I can. Dreamcast wise though, same era as those PC games. But on the Dreamcast, I have been playing an indie game which I won't talk about yet because I don't want to spoil the surprise. I say surprise, hatred more. And also I've been buying a few games as I always do. I've picked up Res, Japanese version of Res. I've picked up a couple of other games I was missing from the collection, a couple of box sets I'm missing from the collection, Japanese Samba de Amigo, Malakas. But I haven't really been buying much more because there's not really much more to buy. So
I think you've kind of completed the Dreamcast, haven't you? You're close to, anyway.
Yeah, I'm at 1,560 games, I think.
Wow.
Obviously, all for research purposes for the guide. Obviously.
So it's like that scene in Betweeners. Completed it. Dreamcast, completed it.
Yeah. But it's good because you get to you get to spend some time looking at stuff which you wouldn't necessarily do. So I like sort of like little knickknacks and collectibles. So being able to pick up random soundtracks from I picked up a few soundtracks 3 weeks ago, Fantasy Star, Samba de Amigo and Space Channel 5 soundtracks. Sort of little things you wouldn't really think.
I've got a couple of soundtracks knocking around actually.
Yeah.
You want them? I mean,
it's
not good to me. They're just kind of on my shelf. I think I've got like is it Cyberia? I think it's one of them. And
yeah,
I'll have a look in a bit. I've got a couple of them knocking about. Yeah, they're just random things I got off eBay years ago. And
that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, and I've seen. I'm sure Tom's the same as me. You know, I know it was because I got the ideas from Tom's articles on Junkyard. But you go on eBay, you just find these random things for like 10p. I remember I bought a David Seaman goalkeeper top pencil topper, which has got a Dreamcast also on the front because it's the Dreamcast kit. Obviously, for me, Seaman on the back and sort of Dreamcast on the front. It's a perfect Dreamcast piece of memorabilia. I think it cost me 75 pence, something ridiculous. And obviously, I'm just waiting for my games to become worth £7 million, which at the current rate of inflation on games probably is going to be next week. But
do you think the irony of that Seaman pencil topper will be lost on somebody from Sega Japan with the Seaman name on the back and the Dreamcast on the front?
Yeah,
because it's got its own meaning for us in the UK. Seaman being the ex-Arsenal goalkeeper, but don't know if somebody from Sega Japan would actually appreciate that, unless we kind of just like shouted at them constantly for about an hour explaining it to them.
There's loads of little weird things like that. eBay's great for that still. You get loads of that still on action figures wise, and I have a large collection of action figures that I built up in the last few months because I haven't got any games to buy, so I just bought the entire range of 2001 House of the Dead figures, which are sitting in a pile in my that's sitting in my pile. It's all planned for the new house. When I get the new house finally and I get a games room, I've got loads of stuff to go in there, but unfortunately until that point I haven't got anywhere to put it. And yes, before Tom asks, because Tom always asks me on every podcast, yes, I have got a bag left now because I bought one last week and it's currently in my front room and it's lovely.
Amazing. What was I was going to ask you a question there and it's kind of gone out of my head slightly now.
So let me ask you a question, Andrew. What have you been playing?
Oh, okay. Just throwing me a curveball there. I have. So the same as Lewis, my big game was Resident Evil 8, or Resident Evil Village as it's called. And it's excellent, like so good. I completed it within 2 or 3 days of it coming out. I was reviewing it, so I kind of had to. It's like it's the first time I've had to like rush complete a game, but it was also one of those games where I didn't mind rushing to complete it because I was actually really enjoying it. It's like a proper like greatest hits of all the Resident Evil games up to that point. Like there's lots of really scary bits, there's action bits, there's like stuff that's reminiscent of 4, obviously with the village, which is very reminiscent of Resident Evil 4, and then you've got like House Beneviento, which is like the scariest part of any Resident Evil game I've ever played. It's incredible. And I found myself in a similar predicament to Lewis as well. Is when I finished it, it's like, well, what do I play now? And actually, I've just really not had time to actually play anything else. So I've had a little bit of a go on Biomutant, which kind of looked excellent. And I haven't played enough of it to gauge whether it is excellent or not. But I know that it's had kind of mixed reviews online. And also played
MMO games, like a shooter or something.
Biomutant. It's like an open world shooter, but it's with you play like a mutated animal. It's like set in the far-flung future of Earth. Yeah, so it's like really kind of cutesy. It has a narrator, but it's also quite violent because you do like kung fu and you have guns and you can craft things, and it's pretty cool. It seems really good. So I'm looking forward to playing more of it when I have the time. But I've been doing a bit of relaxing with the new Super Mario Golf game. I think it's Mario Golf Super Rush or something like that on the Switch, and that's quite fun. It's nice to chill out. Like golf is always a chill out type game, and it's quite a good one. So yeah, that's why I used to like
Mario Golf on the N64. That was pretty cool. Question about Mario Golf: can you do the thing with the Joy-Con where you hold it as like a golf club?
Yes, you can.
You can do that. Amazing. Because I remember when they showed off the Wii U the first time, and they had the Wii U pad on the floor.
Yes.
And they had somebody stood over it pretending they were getting a golf ball, and it was like that never came out, did it?
It did. It's a Wii Sports Club. It's in that, and I've played it a bunch of times. So yeah, you put the gamepad on the floor. It shows you the ball on the gamepad, and then you use the Wiimote as the club, and it's awesome. It's probably my favorite golf game because of that setup. Because you can see the ball on the ground, and you're actually swinging it like a club. It's really good, really very good.
I thought that was one of those kind of vaporware things that they never actually brought out, but I stand corrected. And so Mario Golf is good then on the Switch, yeah?
Yeah, I think that's got mixed reviews as well, because I think people are expecting more from it, being a Switch game. Like Mario Tennis came out on the Switch, and that got kind of middling reviews because it was just so. And I think it's the same developers who made the golf game. And they've added a bunch of cool stuff, like you can was it like rush mode or something, which is why it's called Super Rush, where you run like between strike. What do you call? I was going to say between strikes when you hit your ball.
Tee off.
Yeah, when you tee off, and putting as if you have to run to your ball, and when you're playing with other people, you are kind of like trying to beat them. You're trying to get to the end of the course fastest, or kind of sink it in the hole fastest. So you can run. You have power ups to run faster. You can knock into your rivals and kind of knock them over. So it's kind of fun. It adds a bit of a level of fun to it. So I'm looking forward to playing it with actual people.
That would make actual golf a lot more enjoyable if they actually did that on the telly. Do you know what I mean? Like, or they had those big, the things they used to have on Gladiators, where they had the big kind of, it was like a cotton bud with a big.
The pugil sticks.
Yeah. And as they ran to different holes, they had to like smash each other out of the way with one of them.
Yeah. I'll tell you what else would make golf. I'll tell you what else would make golf more fun. Guns. I think you combine clay pigeon shooting with golf. I think you'd have a superb game. I think it would because it's like that element of jeopardy, isn't it? Where you sort of if you're hitting the ball, but actually you can also be shot. And I think that would make the game superb, in my opinion.
I feel like that's Tom's like ultimate game, right? Because it includes two things that you're quite partial to. So
is Tom partial to golf? Is Tom partial?
He's just partial to Mario Golf. So
I see.
Yeah.
I don't think Mario Golf's real golf though. I don't know. I might shock some people who are listening to this podcast, but I don't think Mario's real.
No. What?
I don't know, right? I might be having heat stroke, to be fair. I'm very hot. But it's
Oh, it's a bit warm, isn't it? A bit warm, yeah.
Let's hope that the International Foundation for Golf. I don't even know if that's a real thing.
International Foundation for Golf.
Yeah,
yes,
I hope
the IFG is listening. Yes,
they listen to Mike's advice, and that becomes a real thing. And then in the next Mario Golf game, we can see Mario snipe Toad as he takes a shot. So
I agree. I mean, I think ultimately, if they want to do it, I'm available to hire. I can bring in the ISSF, the International Sports Shooting Federation. We'll get them together with the Golf Federation, and we'll get them together and we'll make a sport. I think it's the next Olympics in Paris. I think it'll work.
Okay.
Let's go for it.
Awesome. Yeah, I was just going to suggest we all get together, play a round of golf, and push each other out the way while we run to the hole. But
with guns.
I mean, the only person who has a gun is Tom, so I feel like he'd have an unfair advantage.
Yeah, but I mean, it's sort of like you could see who can get the gun off of Tom.
I also feel that Tom would have the unfair advantage there. I think
because he can run. Because he can run. You say no, we're unfit. I mean, you're completely true, but it's. I mean, I don't think that's in any way fair.
All right. Well.
Anyway, moving on.
I do feel like I want to have a round of golf with you all now, just to try this out, just to do it. It'd be hilarious. We'll film it. We'll put it on YouTube when we do it. Anyway, moving swiftly on, as Tom says, we are here to talk about other things.
Oh yeah, the Dreamcast. We're here for the Dreamcast, aren't we? Bloody hell! I know you guys from somewhere.
Apparently, we all have heat stroke, so apologies. Let's move on. So yeah, we've had some new Dreamcast games come out. We're going to talk through them all, but I think the first one that we have to start with, because I mean, come on, I mean, it's been a big deal in our Discord, right? A lot of people have bought it or have seen it, and that is the Text Assist. There's a lot of issues with that game. Is that right?
Yes. That's a very diplomatic way of putting it, Andrew. The game's actually great. The actual base game is superb. Really, really fun game. Really enjoyable. Really loads of horror references shoehorned in. Really cute graphics. Really well made in terms of how it works with the control system, because you basically use a keyboard. It's a mix of a keyboard. It's a mix of Typing of the Dead with Survivor. It's sort of it's a sort of a shoot 'em up mixed with a typing game. It sounds bizarre, but it actually does work really well. The problem lies with the fact that the game cannot be completed on the Dreamcast because it wasn't play tested properly. Because on the level 3 boss, it crashes. I believe it crashes again straight after you get through that bit, and it also crashes again later in the game. So there are ways around it. You press buttons at a certain time, apparently you can get through. And then, of course, it was found at level 6 boss, it actually is completely impossible to pass, and so therefore the entire game is literally not fit for purpose as a retail released indie game.
Wow.
And Mike, can I ask, when these crashes actually happen, is it basically does it lock the console up and you have to reset the entire console, or what actually happens? Is it just a black screen?
Yeah, so it's the text scrolls for the end of the 3rd level. I can't remember the name of the boss name, but it's sort of a nightclub type thing. And the text scrolls, and if it gets to the bottom of the screen, the game freezes. The entire console freezes. First time it happened was in our last heatwave, and so I actually thought Dreamcast was overheating, which is not uncommon, not unusual. So I wasn't really that bothered by it. Started playing it again. I think I messaged Lewis, said, "Oh, game's just crashed on me. That's good fun." Exact same spot the next time I did it again. Did it on 2 more consoles, the exact same thing. At that point, no one had mentioned it online. Because it was the very first day I got it, so I received it. I can't remember who this was now. Lewis might remember more than I can, but I received it. I played it on that night, and literally it was not capable of getting through. I did get through once, almost by luck. It just seemed to go past that bit. It got to the very next stage and then crashed at the beginning again.
Wow, that's very disappointing, isn't it?
It is. I think it's more disappointing because of the fact the game itself is so good. This is not a terrible. I mean, if the game was completed, and I have played it on PC now as well, so I do know what it's like on PC. If the game was completable on Dreamcast, I would probably put it as my favourite indie game on Dreamcast.
Cool. Well, even above things like Xenocrisis and Xenocider, that kind of stuff.
I think it's close to Xenocider. I think Xenocrisis is very, very close to it. I think those two are probably the best. I'd call them proper indie games in terms of the fact they feel like games that would be released as a relatively high-profile indie release on modern-gen consoles.
Yeah, it always looked like something that you'd see on the Switch to me, with that high-quality kind of pixel art visuals. Exactly. You know what I mean? So
it's fun to play. That's the thing.
It's very disappointing to hear this, that it's clearly hasn't been play tested properly. And it's interesting you say as well, Mike, that it crashed on your Dreamcast and you thought it might be something to do with the heat. I know that there are several games that are known to crash on, regardless of what system you play them on. One for me is Stunt GP.
Yeah,
I've got 4 copies of. At one point, I had 4 copies of Stunt GP, and whenever you got to the final race in the championship, it would crash. Yeah. Regardless of which console it was or which copy of the game it was. I thought it was my save file, so I started from the beginning, did it all the way through again, did the same thing right at the end. That tells me that nobody else in the world played through that game to the final race of the championship, because there's nothing on the internet about that.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you should say that, you see, Tom, because I'm now gonna do something which is gonna get me lots of hatred. But to be honest with you, I don't care.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think it's quite disappointing that not a single Dreamcast review of this game from any of the Dreamcast websites mentioned this crash. just so happened every single video or every single review of it never mentioned anything past level 3. Now, I don't want to call out people, but if you're going to review a game and get people to spend their money on something, maybe mention the fact the game isn't completable. I think it's quite a big thing. I don't think it's something that, you can sort of overlook. Now, I'm sure there's reasons why people didn't mention it. I'm sure people probably didn't play that far because, let's face it, they reviewed up to that point. But
essentially.
Yeah, I mean, it left a really bitter taste in my mouth. The fact that, and I know Lewis has got a lot of thoughts on this as well, so I will hand it over to Lewis a second.
Yeah, I'm not trying to throw shade or anything, but there was a press release from Game Fairy, who I think were the publisher of the discs. I think they had another group, I guess, port it, and then they released it. Made all the packaging and the discs and whatnot. So basically, they put out a statement. It's kind of like, it almost reminds me of sort of like a politician's answer. This sort of, we didn't know about all these issues, and it's like we'd in the week up, kind of after this had come to light, and we were all discussing it. Me and Mike were kind of first people to sort of, I suppose, reach out to the community and say, hey, are you having issues too? And everyone who was playing it was having this issue. Dreamcast Talk, the thread started building up, more and more people with these issues, very disappointed people, because everyone like us agrees the game is cool as hell, but you can't play it. So Game Fairy put out a statement, that, like I say, the sort of politician's answer of, we thought it was okay at the time, but obviously it wasn't. And I'd accept that if maybe, for example, Tom, your example with Stunt GP, it's the last race, got all the way up to the end, and maybe they thought, right, it seems good, let's get it out there. But it's like, you only have to play the game for 10 minutes before it crashes. People are saying, did they test it on an emulator or something else? Because if they'd have put this into any Dreamcast, as Mike said, he used 3 to test it, they would have seen the issues. And so I don't really know what was going on behind the scenes. I did see something on Dreamcast Talk that, Game Fairy were thinking about actually getting a disc replacement, with the bug fixes. But
like with MSR, where they recalled the discs and sent out a new version.
Yeah, maybe this is like a Dreamcast tradition that they're just trying to sort of revisit. But so first, their statement, they gave a free Steam code, which is cool. I don't know, Mike, if that's how you played it, if you used the Steam code offered.
Annoyingly, no.
Yeah.
I bought it already.
Well, I still haven't actually claimed mine yet. But basically, their release, the press release, basically says, here are the places where the glitches are, and their solution was you have to skip text. So you have to hold space bar, and it skips the dialog box before it crashes. And they do give you the actual text that you'd miss, so they've provided that. But that kind of takes you out of it. And this is a game where the humor in the text is really great, and it just takes you out of the game. And then obviously, as we found out, it doesn't fix the game ultimately, because it's still, the game breaks some way in, and people weren't really happy with this. But I think talk died down. One of the reviews came out after these issues. The only thing I can think of is just right before the boss where it crashes, there's this weird thing you have to do where you have to go and Goddle.com, which is quite funny, and search the name of a place. And if it's kind of like an awkward system. I think people have said that's one of the bits they didn't like about the game. This sort of weird, I don't know what, MS-DOS kind of operating system where you search things and read up things. It's kind of awkward to use at first if you're not really sort of if you're just throwing the game on, it's a bit awkward. So perhaps people got stuck there and just thought, I played kind of the gist of the game with the, it's just kind of loads of boss fights, isn't it? Yeah,
but I think we're being too fair. We're being too diplomatic here, aren't we? I mean, I don't expect every single person who reviews the game to get that. I mean, I've I've got a guide, you may have heard, and I have reviewed every Dreamcast game. I have not played hours and hours of every single one of those games. But even on Japanese games, I didn't understand. I set myself a minimum of half an hour, no matter what. So, sort of a Mahjong game. I've played Mahjong games before, I know what they're like. I play at least half an hour to get a sort of a feel, any sort of problems. If you're reviewing a new indie game, for 10 minutes, and then putting a review out saying how good it is, doesn't that...
That kind of exposes just how slapdash a lot of these reviews are, though, don't it? It's like they want to be the first out. They want to new Dreamcast game review, but they don't actually play it. And I'm not naming any names or pointing any fingers at anyone.
But we've got moaned at as a junkyard. We got moaned at for the Arcade Racing Legends review, where we were too harsh on.
Correction, you got moaned.
I got moaned at, yeah. I got moaned at for my Flea review because I said Flea was a good game and people didn't agree with me even though they hadn't played it. It seems to be that the critical analysis of games on the indie scene seems to be really lacking somewhat. I feel like, especially with this game, it's the first time I really felt that people were just buying Dreamcast games to have on the shelf. Yeah, that's cool. I ain't got a problem with that. I mean, I've got shelves. I have no problem at all people doing that. But don't put a review of the game up saying how good the game is. And I'm not calling any one particular person out here at all. I'm not. But we've got to have some critical analysis of stuff. Otherwise, we become a dumping ground for any old crap. And actually, we don't need that because you've got games like Xenocrisis and Xenocider in the last year, which have been released, that are so incredible quality. For them to be overshadowed by games that are, they can't even be bothered to test properly is an insult, in my opinion.
Yeah, and just to sort of carry on with where we're up to. So this is where we're up to. It was PC Wizard who initially tweeted about the basically the fact that you couldn't complete this game because I kind of just like put it back on the shelf, but people thought, what, I'm going to play the game and, skip these bugs. I think I was sort of holding out for that release. That was, like I say, only a murmur on Dreamcast Talk. Like maybe someone got it in an email that they were going to have a look into it. I can understand that this is an indie studio who I imagine don't have all the money in the world to obviously release the game like properly and without any bugs, but I'm saying if to do this would probably require a lot of money to replace these discs. So yeah, that spread around, and then Game Fairy say on Twitter, and this was on the 17th of July, it was they said Head Up and their porting partner are currently working on the issues reported for the text assist. In the meantime, we are working on a solution to deliver the fixed version to all of you affected. We're really sorry for the inconvenience. I presume that means a replacement disc. It was slightly vague, so I think at this point people will only accept a replacement disc. We have the disc to play the disc. We've got GDMUs, but we want the disc.
Do you think they would just like say, here's a ROM, download it, put it on a disc, and then put it in the box with your other disc and just like have it together?
Yeah, I think if they, unfortunately, I think people now will not support these people again for the Dreamcast. It kind of
which is a shame.
Which is a shame because it is a great game. But I think at this point they're only going to accept a replacement disc. And I just want to read out this Ian Michael responded to this. He's a Dreamcast homebrew coder, and he was quite talkative on the Dreamcast Talk thread about this game. And I was going to say and its issues, but the thread started off, wow, look at this game that's coming out, and then like halfway through it's like, yeah, it don't work. But he was quite talkative on there, and he says this, which I just think was just great. He says some proper beta testing of the whole game before sale would have been nice. There is a lot of Dreamcast devs like myself that would have tested this for you. We are a very supportive scene and very loyal, and I just think that's like a really important thing to say. And I hope in the future, people who, like if they tested this before release and were like unsure about it or were worried about these bugs, someone like, for example, Ian Michael would have been like, yeah, sure, like let me. He probably, a lot of these people would have been able to offer expertise, because these people know the console. And
I think, Lewis, I think one thing I want to just clarify from what I said earlier on as well, when I said about the fact that people will accept, being shortchanged and poor quality. The Dreamcast scene itself is notorious for being really, really good. Not notorious, the word is the wrong word. It's renowned for being a really good scene, very supportive. Look at all the Tom Square games coming out last year. Really, really strong. People are really supportive of developers. The problem I was referring to is the general retro collecting as a whole. But 100%, I mean, the DC Talk forum, the thread showed that they have loads of people they can talk to. They can have loads of people that can test games. They've got, over 24 games currently being produced. There's tons and tons of people making Dreamcast games they could actually ask for help for. They could, beta testing for. The fact they didn't do that was bad enough. The fact that they released it with bugs is another nail in the coffin. But then to try and say that there's a way around it is to hold space button down. It's just poor. And what really riled me was the fact that the reviews that came out were just so didn't mention it at all. Didn't mention it. It's not even sycophantic. It brings into question if they were being paid for do reviews. I'll be honest with you. I come away with the entire situation thinking that people are actually being paid to do reviews, and that's the reason, or being given the game for free, and they're doing a positive review. If that is the case, we need to stamp that out, because that's not what we're about as Junkyard. We never have been about that. And that's just a really poor way of doing it. People's money are going into these games. People have already lost money on Dreamcast indie scene games before, like Elysian Shadows and stuff. People have lost money before. We don't want to do this now in the middle of the pandemic.
Just to add on to your point, Mike, like I say, one of the reviews came out after these bugs had come to light, and yet I'm pretty certain that this game is still for sale on Game Fairy's website, which should not be the case at all, especially at this point. It was dubious anyway, before it came to light that it was uncompletable. I appreciate that not every single person who likes the Dreamcast, is on Twitter, is following these updates. Someone could just think, oh yeah, look at that. I will say, the box and the actual look of the actual physical game is amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm sure anyone like us who saw that initially would think, oh, that looks sick. And say they're not on Twitter, they've not seen any of these reports of the issues. They could buy that, and they're getting ripped off. So yeah, that's all I have to say about this. We'll see how it goes.
Slightly uncomfortable by the fact that my raving preview is probably one of the things that comes up if you search for it on Google, and it's like, yeah, it's amazing, get it.
But it's a preview, isn't it? I mean, that's the thing. It's the game. The game is fantastic. The game is. I mean, literally, if they fix the problems and they release a version which actually works, I have no hesitation at all in recommending this game, because it's a perfect game for me in terms of the horror cliches in it, the sort of over the top language and stuff. It's just a fantastic game. It's just the fact that if they're going to release it on the Dreamcast, maybe make sure it works on the Dreamcast first.
Doesn't the main character have more than a passing resemblance to the Reverend Lionel Fanthorpe as well?
He does have more than a passing resemblance to Lionel Fanthorpe as well, which is a fantastically obscure reference you put in there, Tom, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll see how that pans out, though, if we get the replacement discs.
Do you reckon we get sent a review copy?
Yeah, no.
Not after that, Mike. No, definitely not.
Hey,
but
honest, isn't it?
Exactly, you've got to be honest. And I would hope you're buying a physical copy of the game to play the physical copy of the game, right? Which is what we've already said. So if the disc doesn't work, what was the point?
You know what? I'm going to say this. I never thought I'd ever say this, but this has made me realize I really, really hate the fact that modern AAA developers release broken games and then patch them later. But when this happened, I was thinking, fuck's sake, why can't you patch games on the Dreamcast?
Yeah, that's not the point, right? Like
33K modem.
Yeah. But that's not. I mean, it's not the point. Like, I hate that about modern gaming. I hate that you can release a broken game and then patch it later. I mean, it's great in some respects, of course, but it just means that you buy a game on a disc and it's not the complete game because, you know, if it's broken in any way, you have to patch it in order to play it. Whereas, you know, back in the day of the Dreamcast, you had to rigorously test your game before committing it to disc to make sure it worked. Because if you didn't, like Stunt GP, apparently it would break. Although, Tom, I need to check with you. You tried it twice, right? And you don't think anybody else has got to the end. Is that right?
I tried it on various different consoles and tried it twice. I might be just completely, really unlucky with like all the copies of the game that I had. But
I was going to say, yeah. Have you tried it a third time? Maybe try it a third time.
Maybe I will. I still can't see a copy on the shelf there. I might give it another go. I'll dedicate another day of my life to get into the last race to see if it crashes.
It does happen, doesn't it, though? I mean, we said this before on the podcast with V-Rally on the Dreamcast. I've every single copy of V-Rally, retail copy of V-Rally, I cannot get past like stage 6 of the championship mode. It always crashes. The white label disc, absolutely fine. The American copy, absolutely fine. But I think I must own about 7 copies of V-Rally.
Could be age, you know what I mean? It could be age, it could be disc rot, it could be, you know, manufacturing issues with those discs. But
I think it's the Sega fucking with us.
From beyond the grave, beyond the Dreamcast grave, anyway.
Yeah. It sounds like, if nothing else, it sounds like a potential article, "The Broken Games of Dreamcast."
Yeah,
there's something in that, perhaps, but
all of them if you've got the wrong Dreamcast.
That's true. All right. Well, moving on to maybe some better releases that are coming out. So we've got Intrepid Izzy, which was of course a big Kickstarter success, and I believe pre-orders are live as well, which is incredible. It looks very nice. Like I seen bits of it before, and then I can't remember where it was, but I saw a proper video of the gameplay, and I was like, this looks really good. Like I was actually surprised and taken aback by just how good it looked.
It's cool to see a Dreamcast game running like in full 60 frames a second. I mean, I played the demo version. We did an episode of the DreamPod way back when with Roll from Senile Team, when we spoke about, you know, the development process and just about how, you know, it influences for the game. I mean, like I said, I played the demo version. It was great. So I've got high hopes for the final game. I did notice as well. I saw on the on one of the pre-order pages for the game, there's a scene with a boat, and the boat is called Boaty McB, which is obviously a reference to Boaty McBoatface, which I thought was quite cool. So if that's any indication of what the sense of humour is going to be like, then I think we're in for a treat.
I think if any development team can deliver the goods, we see our team. I think they deserve a real sort of accolade. I think it's a difficult time to release an indie game on Dreamcast though, because obviously with as we mentioned, the 2 games last year, we've really raised the bar for Dreamcast indie games. So it'll be interesting to see how it fares against them.
I actually have a review copy, and I will put my hand up and admit I have actually not played it yet. Because I've been so damn busy, but I am going to be writing the review on the blog for it. I've been sort of like reaching out for a bit of information, you know, to include in the article. Senile Team said last thing I heard from them was it'll be sometime in August, and then also Wave Game Studios, who are the distributors in the UK. I think they also will send to the USA. And then you can, if you're in Europe, you can go to Dragon Box. Unfortunately, I think because of Brexit or something, that you can't buy it from. If you're in the UK, if you try and order from Dragon Box, it will basically say you need to spend upwards. I think it's like £130 to actually like get sent anything.
Yeah, good old Brexit.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Going well, I see.
Yeah, I've used Dragon Box, and like I think I saw on there they were doing like a really great 3-pack of like 3 really good indie games. I was like, I want that, and then I saw this thing. But the one that is from Wave, which the people in the UK can grab easily, is the sort of PAL looking design, and then the one that Dragon Box are sending out is the Japanese design. Obviously, I'm perfectly happy having the blue swirl, but you know, I know some people are pretty keen on getting that like really cool Japanese design. So unfortunately, if you're in the UK, you might have a bit of trouble with Dragon Box unless you're gonna get like go all out, have a big shopping spree, you know. But just one thing that I think is really cool, and this is why I reached out to Wave actually, because I really wanted to put this in my article, is they're actually sending this out to retro game stores in the UK, and they've just sent me a list of all the different ones that are planning. They may not be, they're not 100% yet, but they are in talks with quite a lot. There's quite a few names I recognize. You know, I said to Wave, I really want to put this in the article because especially in these times, we should be supporting our local retro game stores. You know.
100%.
Yeah.
So that's awesome that you'll be able to go in there and buy a brand new Dreamcast game. Like that'll be a sort of a nice experience just for I suppose the fun of doing that for some people. Just being able to actually buy a new Dreamcast game in the shop will be wicked. So I'm really excited to play it. I've seen some footage recently and it just looks incredible. So I'm really excited.
Excellent. Cool. And that's not all for new Dreamcast games. So Shadow Gangs is coming soon, I believe. Anybody want to go with that one?
So this one is one I was first alerted to like way back in like 2015 or 16 or something, but it looked really janky back then. Yeah. And then it was kind of almost called out as being a bit like sort of vaporware or something, because it all went quiet. And then it's now kind of come back to the fore again because apparently it's coming to the Dreamcast very, very soon via a Kickstarter. Maybe the people who were doing it just thought, we'll leave it for 6 years. And then for whatever reason, but
it came out on the Xbox One, didn't it? Came out on the Xbox One. Yeah, last year.
Really? I didn't know that. Right. Okay.
Well, I'm not sure if the console ports came out. I know PC ports come out on Steam. PC version's definitely out. But
what's the general consensus? I've not actually looked into this at all, so that's my fault for not doing any
got
research.
good reviews. Yeah, good reviews. I think there's been a long-standing DC Talk forum thread where it's sort of the developer sort of saying how you want to do a Dreamcast game in the future, and everyone was sort of like, oh, yeah, okay. Didn't really think much of it, and then the PC game came out, and now he's come back now and announced last week he's bringing it out. So yes, it looks pretty good. Yeah, sort of a 2D beat 'em up.
Yeah, I always get this one mixed up with that one. What was that one?
Okinawa Rush.
Star
Sheriff.
Okinawa Rush. Yeah, what happened to that? It just vanished, didn't it? Okinawa Rush. I reckon that was vaporware as well.
I think that hasn't come out on consoles yet. I don't think, has it? So I think that one they're still developing. I'm sort of. There's so many games coming out.
Mike, you're hopeful, aren't you? That's what it is.
I know. There are so many games coming out. It's difficult to keep track of what they are, really.
Yeah, just to weigh in on Shadow Gangs, they put a Twitter post out on the 15th of July. They say, regarding the Dreamcast version, very good news. Most levels now reach 60 frames per second. Things are looking good, very good. Yep. Kickstarter will come soon. Get ready for HD Ninja action on the Sega Dreamcast. I'm not going to keep dragging the text assist, but just the fact that they've tweeted that they're actually like testing this is a better sign for things to come, I suppose. Yeah, so let's see how that goes.
Yeah, cool. Excellent. And there's a couple of ports. I think I don't know if these were originally meant to come to the Dreamcast but didn't, or if these are more recent ports, but I can see Postal and Little Big Adventure as well. Is that right?
So Postal, the thing with Postal is that years ago they decided to make the whole sort of game code open source, and I asked them at Dreamcast port, quite tongue in cheek, and they were like, well, if we can get somebody to do it, then yeah. It looks like this guy Dan Redfield has taken the baton and is running with it, and is releasing it as an open source port for free at some point in the near future. The reason that I mentioned Little Big Planet is that not Little Big Planet, Little Big Adventure is that I don't know if I'm allowed to say this or not, but apparently that is running on the Dreamcast. That's in some guise somewhere in the deepest depths of some indie developer that I will not mention at this juncture, just in case they don't want me to. But and the thing is, I did the same thing, or rather, they did the same thing when they told me that was also running. The person who told me said that it was Little Big Planet, and I was like, "You what?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah." And I said, "Are you kidding?" And I'm like, "No." And I'm like, Little Big Planet is coming to the Dreamcast. This is amazing. And then it was like, oh, wait a minute. No, it's not. It's Little Big Adventure. It's not. I was like,
Yeah, the same,
right.
the same developer, I think, told me the same thing. I thought they meant Little Big Adventure 2 as well. So I was like, Little Big Adventure 2 is one of the greatest games ever made, and it was like, really? I think that same developer may also have got a fully working Portal already done, a Postal already done, not Portal.
Not
Portal.
We're getting Portal, we're getting Little Big Planet.
Portal coming to Dreamcast alongside Little Big Planet.
Yeah. You heard it here first.
I believe there's a fully working port of Postal already done. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that, because I think because it was quite secretive, there might already be one fully out there. So interesting times. There are several other games and a couple of games we've announced recently as well.
Okay.
Metal Canary, a shoot 'em up from Louise Nye, who's a friend of the Junkyard, going back several years, using Titan Games IDE engine. It's a shoot 'em up that's coming out next year. They released some video footage. How long ago was that? 2 months ago? 3 months ago? So that's a one on its way, obviously to add to the many games coming from Josh Brod and Pixel Heart. I think they're up to like 11, is it now, or 9, something really high. So in a couple of weeks' time, we've got Flight of the Amazon Queen. If anyone remembers that point-and-click adventure, that game is still, I believe, on its way in the next few months. We also got Recnum, which is, I said Recnum, which is a game coming, I think, end of this year. It's a sort of a NES port again, a bit like Flea. We've also got Tapeworm Disco Puzzle, which is a sequel to Flea, also on the way. So
and that's just the whole of the Parasite Kingdom, then, yeah.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. But there are lots of games coming. I think we're up to still 25, 26 games in development.
At least track of them. I just ask you, Mike. You know what I mean? What's coming out?
I have on my updated guide. I do have an upcoming game section, and I think I've rewritten it, as Lewis will know, about 40 times. And every single time a new game gets announced, I just message Lewis with sort of just heartbreak in my message, like, for goodness sake,
stop releasing new games. No, don't.
Yeah, but it's great. I mean, it's fantastic. Again, how many of us thought that in 2021 we'd be sat discussing more than 24 Dreamcast games on a way? It's a crazy time.
I think we said that in like 2019.
We did.
Yeah, 2018 was there every year. We're going to be sat here at like 80-odd-year-old soon going, there's a new Dreamcast game coming out next year. Put my teeth back in.
And it'll still be too hot then as well.
It'll be hotter then.
Way hotter, yeah.
Climate change.
One thing just to mention is someone was sort of working on sort of like a monkey ball kind of game that was on the Simulant engine. And so obviously people love a bit of monkey ball. I think it's nicknamed Coco Ball. It's on the Simulant engine, and they've got some screenshots and stuff, and it's got the kind of like the grid and I can't see any monkeys so far, but there is a ball and it looks like Monkey Ball. So
no monkey, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
It's Simulant. That's engine by Luke Benstead, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Some people were quite happy, like excited for that when they saw like kind of the tease on Twitter. So let's see how that goes.
Absolutely. And kind of to round off new games, I think we've got a new project coming from Retro Summer soon. Is that right?
I'm not sure about this one. I didn't know about this. The only thing that I could think of was that maybe they're going back to Amoeba, which was the first game that they announced, which is a visual novel. I believe
they have still got Amoeba on hold. I think the last thing I read from them regarding the game was it was still on hold. So I don't know if it's going to be Amoeba. I think they and Bitmap Bureau are probably both working on some new Dreamcast games, because let's face it, they've both released some amazing games in the last 6 months. So I'd be very surprised if they didn't.
I know that Bitmap Bureau are working on something which is almost like an answer to Paprium, so a side-scrolling beat-em-up.
On Dreamcast.
No, I did ask Mike Tucker, who is like the sort of the lead guy, whether it was coming to the Dreamcast, and he said he's not sure it would run on the hardware. So maybe not. They're going to look into it. So we shall see.
Just going back to Paprium for a second. I mean, I know it's Watermelon, and they have a very spotty track record, but they did bring Pierre Solar to the Dreamcast. I wonder if Paprium is something that we'll ever see come to the Dreamcast, because that would be interesting, right? To see that on the Dreamcast.
So yeah, I mean, obviously it runs apparently really well on the Mega Drive. I've not actually played it myself. Everyone who's got
it depends on the Mega Drive you use.
Yeah. But a game like that would just be like the Dreamcast would eat that up. It'd be perfect. Why they've not? I mean, again, I always say this: I'm not a developer, I'm not a financial expert, but it may be down to financial side of things, or just the difficulties of developing a new game from scratch for a new console or for an old console even. But you'd think that they'd get in on that in some way. Putting on the Dreamcast would probably sell like hotcakes. I know I'd buy a copy for the Dreamcast, definitely. Absolutely.
Do you think the Dreamcast market, in terms of people buying games for it, do you think it's bigger than the Mega Drive, or do you think the Mega Drive outstrips it still?
I don't know. I think the Mega Drive maybe outstrips it, because the Dreamcast is. I mean, we're involved in this community, so we see it all the time. But I think it's probably a lot smaller than we think it is. Yeah. And maybe if somebody releases a new game on the Mega Drive, it's got more. Certainly these days, in year 2021, it's got more of a kind of new game for Mega Drive. It's got more punch than new game for Dreamcast, because that ship sailed like a decade ago, when people started bringing out properly high quality homebrew Dreamcast games. Do you know what I mean? So
I think for collectors' point of view as well, having a sort of a cartridge-based game is somewhat more appealing than having a game based on CD, isn't it? It's not quite as novelty, not quite as collectible. Which is, I think what Tom said about the fact that games on Dreamcast don't sell that well. I think again, going back to Texas Test, I think I showed it. I think they still had the limited edition on sale last time I checked. So that was only 666 copies. You'd think that a lot more than that would sell. So if they're struggling to sell that many, then maybe the scene's a lot smaller than we think it is.
That's true. And you look at Pixel Heart selling the new old games, and some of those are still there from a long time ago, and it's still in multiple copies. And you think that if the Dreamcast scene is as big as sometimes we think it is, you'd think that people would be snapping those up. But
I expect the profit margin's probably higher on Dreamcast games, in terms of the fact it's probably quite a lot cheaper to release Dreamcast games than it is compared to a cartridge game, isn't it? So there's probably a lot more profit.
Yeah. Because you can. I mean, obviously, you can't burn things to GD-ROM anymore, because the format doesn't exist to do so. So it's on CD, right? So which is incredibly cheap. So
sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So friend of the show, Derek Pasquarella, who was on last episode, in fact, and we were talking about his upcoming projects and what was going to happen next, is in the thick of doing the Neon Genesis Evangelion translation project, right, Lewis?
He's done it.
He's done it.
Done.
Hey, nice.
Now, to say at this point, I did listen to that episode. It was brilliant, and those guys who do all these translation projects just for nothing, just for the love of it, it's so impressive. Derek and Burnt Ends, if they're listening to this episode, I just want to say thank you for the work that you do, basically, because it was really cool to hear what they're doing, what's coming up in the future, and just again, repeating myself, but just the amount of passion that they've got for this kind of thing. It was really fascinating, really great episode.
Basically, so Derek released the other Evangelion typing game, a translation of it. His first ever Dreamcast translation was one of the Neon Genesis Evangelion typing tutors, and who would have thought he'd do another? But yeah, this is his fourth.
You wait for 20 years and then two come at once,
Yeah, this is his fourth Dreamcast translation project of this year. So he's just like really knocking them out of the park, and yeah, it's just pretty awesome, really. I wrote a little bit of an article about it where I said like probably the only reason you'd get this game unless you were a Japanese speaker is because it came with like some cool swag in the box. But yeah, if you're an Evangelion fan, it's just another really cool typing tutor for the Dreamcast, really. So yeah, just burn it to a CD, put it on the GDMU, fire up your keyboard, and that's all you need. You just need the keyboard. That's it. Because we got a lot of questions. Do you need a mouse? Do you need whatever? Just the keyboard, and yeah, you can play it. Unfortunately, when I posted about this on one of the Evangelion Reddits, they're just like, you think that these fans would like lap it up. This is a game about like one of the greatest animes ever on the Dreamcast, And like I just got comments like, next translate the PS2 version. It's like, no, there's a Dreamcast version. Play it.
You tell them, Lewis. Oh dear.
I love the fact that it's like these like really kind of like niche games are being translated into English that nobody's asking for.
Yeah.
And it's just like they're going out of the way to do it. They're doing it all off their own back and spending, hours and hours and hours poring over this text and recompiling games and then putting them out for free. And it's just like the only thing someone can say is, do the PS2 version. So I mean, not, wow, that's an amazing accomplishment. Thanks for this, people. Yeah, I know entitlement is just something that we have to live with in this like day and age, but yeah, it never ceases to amaze me how ungrateful people can be in some ways.
Yeah.
And I'm now going to go and wave my fist at a cloud. So I'll be back in a
Go for it. Do that.
There's no clouds, Tom.
Oh,
there's
yeah,
no clouds.
no.
There's just the searing heat of a star.
Oh, dearie me. Yeah, I do echo that though. It's incredible that these people are taking the time and effort to do this and basically unlock all of these games for people in the West who just haven't been able to access them without a knowledge of Japanese. So yeah, looking forward to some of the projects that we mentioned on there. Obviously still Eldorado Gate, obviously Sega Gaga, so many games that that hopefully we will see unlocked for English speakers in the near future. And again, thank you for that.
Mike, what is the most obscure Japanese game that nobody's ever played that Derek and his crew could like translate? Like, what's like the most reach back into the depths of your mind of something that's so kind of, no one's going to play this. Nobody's going to ask for this.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a couple of like, obviously you could pick a random Mahjong game, couldn't you? Which probably wouldn't get much love. And lots of visual novels are loved by a very select few. But something like Sengoku Turb would be the first Sengoku Turb game would be an interesting one because it is absolute batshit crazy, and that would be intense to have as a game. And then the second one as well. There's two. The second one, Sengoku I Love My whatever double entendre thing. I don't know what it's called. Some ridiculous name. It's fantastic because it's got some really weird. There's loads of little mini games in the game. I think I mentioned this on a previous podcast with Lewis. But that'd be quite a good game to have as a translation. I know that Lewis is still holding on for Comic Party to get a translation.
Never happen. Mike, would you say that you currently feel like the cover of Sengoku Turb 2?
Do I feel like yeah, good one. I like that.
That visual gag, I'm gonna have to like
because just like the cover of Sengoku Turb, I Love My Fan double entendre, whatever it's called. I am literally at the current time feeling like I'm melting in some kind of kaleidoscope of heat and sweat. It's just sort of.
I can see that now, and I appreciate it.
The little character on that cover, I've got a soft toy of that character. If I was to pick it up now, it would probably just disintegrate in my hands because this room is like an oven. I am cooking Dreamcast games at the current time. It's it's just, why is it so hot? This is why none of us should drive.
I was going to say we could go off on like a massive tangent into like global warming and.
That's unlike us, isn't it? It's unlike us to go on a massive tangent.
You know what? I just want to say why the Dreamcast was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Everyone Google Sengoku Turb fan I Love Me dunce double entendre. That's the full name.
Yeah.
Not only for the visual gag of Mike burning like the character on the front. But just that cover is like, these sort of like e-girls on TikTok would have like a shirt with that cover on it. With like the flaming text and like the weird inverted shit. Like that is all the rage.
I think it's important to remember as well, if you do look at the cover right now and you're looking at it and you're thinking, that is some weird ass stuff. I mean, that is barely touches the insanity that these games are. Genuinely, they are the most insane games you will ever play in your life, and they should be sought out by all of you and played
immediately.
The first one's terrible, but it's still incredibly weird.
You've been told, or we've been told. So I'm going to have to go and get on that later, I guess.
Yeah, I want a 3-page spread in the next book, please. Darren.
Okay, right.
Darren? Who's Darren?
Did you call me Darren?
I called you Darren. I don't know why. It's
All right, Jeff, calm down. We're all hot.
I thought for a second you were making an F1 joke because there's a whole thing with McLaren, and a guy in McLaren keeps calling somebody Darren constantly, and I was like, is he making an F1 joke? Does Mike like F1?
I do. I love F1, and if it makes me sound like I'm not losing my mind, I was making that joke.
We'll go with that then. Fine. Lovely. Right. Anyway. So last thing before we finish up is something I'm not sure about, but I'm going to read it out, and then I'm guessing Tom will be able to tell us more about this one, which is a homemade Dreamcast MIDI cable, which now exists. Tell us a bit more about this, Tom.
Yeah, so the MIDI cable was a Japanese exclusive peripheral that allowed you to plug a keyboard into a Dreamcast. It was released in Japan only, and you could basically create MIDI tracks with this particular piece of software, which is, I don't know how it's pronounced, but it's spelled, well, I'm going to try and phonetically pronounce it, Oto-Iri. Oto-Iri. If I went into a shop in Japan and said that to somebody, they would look at me like I'd just, murder their language, which I just have, quite clearly. But so it's a Dreamcast MIDI sequencer. It's a music kind of creation software. These particular cables, these Dreamcast MIDI cables, are like, they're really uncommon, and they're really expensive as well. And they're almost in the sort of the realm of, I don't know, what's a rare thing for the Dreamcast. I would class it in the same kind of category as maybe, I don't know, the karaoke unit or something like that, or any other kind of weird peripheral that never came out over here or anywhere else. This particular guy, his name's Ben Rives or Rives, I don't know how he pronounces his surname. He has created a homebrew version of the MIDI cable, so that he can now essentially create MIDI music with a keyboard and his Dreamcast, which is absolutely fantastic. The video is pretty cool. He explains basically what it is, what the MIDI cable is, and then shows you how to create one and how to make music with it. But there's also a really in-depth blog on his website, which is benrives.com. I'll spell it. It's BENRYVES.com. And then if you go into the journal, there's an article there about the creating your own MIDI interface cable. And the reason that this really appealed to me, and thanks to Lewis really for alerting me to this, is the fact that it reminded me of when we had the whole kind of serial cable like hunt when Luke Benstead, the guy who created the DreamPod, was looking at the potential of creating new third-party or homebrew serial cables for like Dreamcast Connect, console connectors and that kind of thing. But basically, Ben has gone and done this himself, created a whole schematic, gone way above and beyond what you would expect from somebody just doing this in their spare time as a hobby, and created a cable like the MIDI cable that nobody is asking for. It's just the pure passion that he's done it for, and I just found it. I love it. I love the fact that he's done this. Anyway, I commented on his video saying this is very cool, and he responded saying, thanks, man. He responded saying that he'd seen an article we'd done on the Dreamcast Junkyard a while back about weird Dreamcast cables. So it's gone kind of full circle. We did an article on weird Dreamcast cables years ago. He saw it, created this thing, and now we're talking about his creation based on an article we did. And that's what I love about this community. Do you know what I mean? It's just so unpredictable, and it's just really cool, basically. So yeah, we'll try and put some kind of link in the show notes or something for the video. But I just think it's fantastic, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Is that something you own, Mike? Do you own an original one? Or do you own a game or anything like that?
Yeah, I got the game, and I think I do have a MIDI cable. I can't remember if I think I bought a MIDI cable because it was listed as a internet cable once.
Okay.
The actual it's not game, is it, as such? The software is really good. Really, really good. It was really well received and really quite powerful compared to what you'd expect. It's not sort of I think the closest thing I can think of is that Codemasters game on the PS1 and PS2.
Yeah.
It's not like it. Yeah, it's not like that, and it's not like Mario music or anything. It's not. It's a proper. It's proper, but it's also done so it's a bit more welcoming for newbies. So it's a really cool piece. It is one of those pieces of one of the accessories in Japan, which just goes for astronomical amounts. It's really cool that we have hopefully.
It's a shame that that it's been such a hard to find piece of equipment, because this is the kind of thing that the internet would lap up. I mean, shout out to Pizza Hotline, who is in our Discord, who
good old Pizza Hotline.
Yeah, he makes vaporwave music for a label called Around the Water Cooler. He was definitely interested when this link hit our Discord, so thanks to our Discord for finding this. Actually, yeah, like I say, I'd love for more people to be able to like just make music on the Dreamcast. That's just so cool. You have we've had it with for example, the Game Boy. There's like a whole thing we call chiptune, where people have made music on a piece of software for the Game Boy called LSDJ, and then I think people have released like albums that are like made on the NES and just all sorts of mad stuff. So it'd be cool to see people hopefully building their own cables using this guide and going for it. I've mentioned this before, but there's a really funny YouTuber called Look Mum No Computer, and he does like weird musical experiments. This is the sort of thing that he'd like eat up. And he did a video where he made a song on MTV Music, or whatever it was called in the UK. And like you say, it's not as powerful as the Dreamcast software. So imagine if he had that in his hands, like it'd be really cool. So I think after this, I'm gonna like spam him on Twitter and see if he'll do a video, using this.
Wow. We've set up a bunch of articles here. We've got Lewis trying to get people to make music on the Dreamcast. We've got Tom, who's going to talk about the broken games of Dreamcast, and we've got Mike, who's going to do cooking with Dreamcast games.
No. Shooting golf.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, that's not really a Dreamcast Junkyard article, right?
I'll make
a
it.
new movement.
I'll squeeze it in, mate. Somehow I'll make it somewhere. I don't know. Dreamcast can be the sort of launcher. I don't know.
Yeah, we could try and get one of the developers like Retro Summers to do a golf game of that form with Tom in it.
That'd be good. Sorry, I just have to slam my window shut and put myself on mute because somebody drove past with an extremely loud exhaust on their horrendously poorly maintained motorcycle.
What they should do is cancel their Steam Dock reservation and get a new exhaust, mate. That's what
exactly, yeah.
All come full circle. It's all come full circle.
So Steam Dock or Steam Deck? I can't remember what it's called. Steam Deck. Steam Deck.
Yeah.
It's a weird name, isn't it? It's a weird name.
I get it. I kind of get it. It's like a deck, right?
Should have called it the Steampunk.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
The funnel. The funnel, they should call it.
The funnel, yeah.
Well, let's just hope it does better than the Steam Link and the Steam controller. That would be nice.
Both of which I had, which doesn't fill me with confidence.
It should just be Steam powered. That should be our new way of playing games. Steam powered gaming. There you go. Literally steam powered.
Literal steam power. Yeah. That's another thing. Let's get the Dreamcast to run on steam power. It will be future proof then.
Well,
you have to worry about pesky power.
So you got your Noctua fan and your GDMU, and also a massive sort of steep coal powered combustion engine on the side of it.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be coal. It could be you could put logs into it just as long as it creates steam.
It's coal.
I've
nothing else.
Yeah. And the heat that I would give out would be about the same as it would be today in this room. So there you go.
Mike is hot, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know.
Jesus, I am so hot.
He's not mentioned it though, has he?
Not really, no.
I mean, I don't want to go on about it all the time, but crikey, it's hot. I mean, Americans don't know how easy they got it. Because it's hot. Oh, it's hot all the time. Yeah, but you've got aircon. I know at least one person on this podcast has got an aircon. Andrew.
Two people.
Two? It's really two.
Let's move on, shall we?
Oh my word!
I want to know who else has got aircon. Is it me?
Lewis.
Oh yeah, I've got a ceiling fan. Is that aircon technically?
Yeah, that's British aircon, isn't it? Yeah. Where were we? Oh, I can't remember now.
Not a clue, mate. Not a clue.
Lewis, I think you should make the image for this episode should just be a recreation of that game's cover, but with Mike's face on it.
You know what I thought it should be, and I'd never be able to do this because I'm not talented enough. It'd be The Melting Clocks by Salvador Dali, but a Dreamcast. That'd be incredible.
Nice.
That'd be great.
But yeah, so we've come to an end, and as I think I've said it like for literally the last 3 or 4 episodes, but we're closing on an episode 100. I don't think we don't have any solid plans for episode 100 yet, right? But I guess if anybody has any ideas that
World
they'd like to hear, world domination. Yeah.
Sure, we'll pull something out of the bag and it'll just be a massive letdown, but we can live in hope.
What we'll do is we'll invite all of those reviewers that I've managed to piss off today by saying they didn't do proper reviews onto the podcast, and then we'll go no, and then we'll be left on our own talking about Dreamcast to people who don't care.
Well, what I was going to say is anybody listening, if you're in the Discord or Facebook or anything, pop us a message over and let us know what you might like to hear in an episode 100. If there's anything you've been dying for us to talk about, if there's any weird things you'd like us to try and do, like gun golf, whatever.
What?
There's no physical side to this podcast, is there? Surely, well, that hasn't been discussed before.
Physical?
Yeah.
How do you mean?
You said better do stuff. I mean, we just rock up and sort of sit here and talk crap for an hour and a half every few months, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah. We'll work. We did the Secret Santa once, right? We did Secret Santa. Yeah.
I didn't get my Secret Santa on the same day, but yeah.
You did get it though in the end, right?
I did get it. Mark got me a fantastic gift.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That's something we should probably do this year as well. But it's July and we're in the baking heat, so talking about Christmas is probably the wrong thing to do right now.
Maybe we should take it back to the days of DC UK. You know, like how Casper was saying they'd have like a budget to like go fishing and stuff, and they were like hungover. Just us, we could just gun golf. There you go.
Yeah. Gun golf. Yeah, gun golf. That's it.
Yeah.
Sorted.
Sorted.
Yeah. When there's no new blog posts, people will know what happened.
Oh God. Yeah. When one of the parts of Dreamcast Junkyard stops, that person did not win gun golf, unfortunately.
We could throw speed discs in the air and shoot them.
Yes.
That sounds incredible.
Let's do that. I think James would have things to say about that, but
he hasn't got a gun, so he can say what he wants.
So yes, please do let us know if you have anything you'd like to hear from us on the episode 100. But yeah, we have a few episodes in between, of course, and we're going to bring those to you very soon. Have we got anything to plug at the moment? Mike, where are we with the A to Z?
Yep, so everything's done. Just needs to be added the indie games coming out. So Intrepid Izzy, and the Pixel Heart games, because I don't want to take them all out because that'll take days to work out how to do it. But no, apart from that, it's all done. Yeah, looking okay, I think. Lewis has got a physical copy in his hand. Not now. Well, he might have it in his hand now, but he has a physical copy. So yeah, I think it looks all right. Yeah, looking pretty good. So yeah, happy with it as well.
Fantastic.
Exciting.
Yeah. I won't ask when, because we do that every time, and then inevitably more games get added, so you have to put it back a little bit longer. So
yeah, I think September time probably is going to be the earliest now. September.
Okay, that's fine. Cool. Looking forward to that. Lewis, anything you want to plug at the moment?
Not really. Just look out for that Intrepid Izzy review coming your way.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Tom. What's going on with you at the moment?
Just to be excellent to one another. That's it, really.
Oh,
yeah.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah. I feel like I'm always plugging something or other. I think I've shown all of you guys now. So I'm doing Dreamcast Year 2. Don't know if you know. I don't know if I've mentioned it before.
I don't think you have. No. What is that?
Yeah, Dreamcast Year 2. So it has been delayed slightly, but I have finally finished the zine that comes with it, which is called DCY, after the podcast that I do. And in fact, Mr. Tom and Mr. Lewis are in it. They've written a couple of articles for it, which is lovely.
It looks Tom, really good, mate. Yeah, it looks the video preview I've seen of it looks really cool. So congrats.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, it's great. I was going to mention it earlier on in the podcast. We were talking about that time in gaming, which was kind of like, well, the Dreamcast was out, so like 98 to 2002, and the amazing games. That's what the zine is all about. It's about that time in gaming. And Tom, you've written a lovely piece about the N64 expansion pack, and Lewis, you've written a piece about Scissorman. So some interesting stuff to read in there. Lots of other stuff as well. So looking forward to getting that to people when the book comes out. So that's that. Yeah, there we go. Let's do Twitter. I've kind of lost my train of thought now. Let's do Twitter.
It's gun golf. That's what it is. The idea of gun golf has made you so excited.
I tried to do a video when that that clay shooting game came out on the Atomic Wave,
Yes.
and my plan was to basically dismantle my Dreamcast light gun, or one of them, and put the Dreamcast light gun assembly inside the shotgun and use that to shoot the clays on the screen. And I was going to do a video, and it was going to be hilarious, and it was going to be great. But I couldn't find a cable to connect the Dreamcast to the CRT TV, so I just thought, oh, screw it, can't be bothered. So what could have been? What could have been? It could have been amazing, but it's not. So,
But that gun can now be saved and used for gun golf. So
indeed.
My goodness, what have we done? What have we created?
I used to have images of sort of Lee Westwood when we're in a golf field with someone trying to shoot him. In my mind, that's quite a funny image.
Oh dear. All right. Well, if you want to see gun golf come to fruition, listeners, back our Kickstarter. So, Mike, where can people find you on Twitter?
At space_turnip, that's my personal account, and also at Dreamcast Pics, that's Pics, where I occasionally still post random pictures of my Dreamcast collection, although I haven't done it for a while because I haven't bought much.
I think you should show some of your games sweating, baking in the heat. That would be topical.
I feel sorry for them all.
Lewis, where can we find you?
I am at LewisJFC on Twitter. Go find me and read my tweets about shit. There you go.
What a salesman. What a salesman.
Do you work in PR? Lewis?
No, I work in IT. I'm used to just repeating the same old shit day in, day out. I don't know. That got a bit morbid. Anyway, move off me.
Slightly worrying that you were on the Dreamcast Year's Twitter as well with that attitude. Tom, where can we find you, if anywhere?
I'm on Discord occasionally when I can be bothered to log in, and I keep forgetting to do so, but I am on there. So yeah, not on Twitter or Facebook or any of that garbage. So yeah, Happy days.
I will remind listeners that at Daddy Dreamcast does still exist, although Tom can no longer log into it. So please do at that account, just because it's funny. But there we go. And you can find me at Oddment84. And you can find all of us at the DC Junkyard. And although I joked with you there, Lewis, you and Mike do an excellent job of running that. So lots of lovely memes. There you go. Have a look on our Twitter. Please do. We have the Facebook group, of course, so go and take a look there. But it's all going on in our Discord at the moment. And you can find that by going to the dreamcastjunkyard.co.uk, where you'll also find all of our amazing articles. So please do read those. But you'll find a link to Discord there. And it's all going on there. We've got all sorts of people chatting away. We've got people like Derek talking about translations. Got all sorts of people chatting about all sorts of different Dreamcast things. So please do join in with that, because it's an awesome little community that we've got going on over there. Oh, and also to mention, we of course have a YouTube channel, and as Lewis mentioned at the beginning, we've got our lovely book club, which is hosted by Kev.
I'm just going to go and jump in a bath of ice while you continue doing this outro, so I'll be back in a minute. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say Mike is probably going to want to join you in that bath of ice.
I like Tom, but I'm not sure that much.
You'll find out.
But to be fair, the heat is now. I mean, it's actually that's fine. Actually.
All right then. Well, we'll leave it there before Mike melts any further, and we'll see you all next time. Thank you very much for tuning in. Take care. Bye.
Please stop this disc now.
I think I go slightly insane. This is why I don't get out much. Sort of, just I sit in a room with Dreamcast games, looking back and forth, sort of going, "Oh, I will get that next visual novel random version." Yeah, no.
Do you talk to your games, Mike? Do you have a chat with them while you're in there?
I think the question is, do you not? And why else would you have them for?
True.
They're my children. They're like, if you had children, you would talk to them, wouldn't you?
You'd hope so.
Well,
lock them in a room and lock the door. Yeah.
Bye, children. No talking.